Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a portfolio business on your terms. And if you don't know what any of that means, have a listen because we're just really good at helping you build your business. That's what it comes down to. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are delighted to have you here. We are about to really talk about a kind of sensitive subject to an extent, around how to choose your clients, but also how to choose them in terms of who you should be letting go. So, more on that in a moment. For those of you who know us well, um, we always start with the buzz in your business. So, we would love for you to share the buzz in your business. What's interesting, exciting, intriguing for you? Pop it in the comments. We want to know because usually you end up inspiring somebody else as a result of what you're doing. So, yeah, pop that in there. Let us know what your buzz in the business is. Some of you may have seen in the Connection Hub, which is the group that we run alongside this. The Connection Hub is really the place where speakers, authors, and coaches hang out with the people that support them, like the graphic designers, the web designers, the copywriters, or all the people that you need to make your business grow, and the people that actively support you in letting you share your message out in the world, that good stuff. So they're all in there, and that's where the real conversation is taking place. So please, please, please do join that. Kelly's already popped a link in there, I see, which is great.
Ah.
But the reason I was saying that is because Kelly did an awesome podcast earlier on this week, and you're about to share that. So that's one bit of the buzz in our business. Um, and in fact, Ekrem, hello, welcome. Kelly's just going to accept you into the Connection Hub. So welcome in both ways. And hi, Menika. So the other bit of the buzz in our business, the thing that's keeping us busy at the moment, is we're always listening for what people need. And we are quite excited about the fact that we are in the final stages of really completing a marketing pack. And it's jam packed with templates, with guides, with plans that really, at its heart, allow you to strategically, because that's a key word for us, really strategically create your marketing so that it becomes ease and grace for you. So that's quite exciting. Hey, Kat, nice to see you here. And the rest of you, say hello so that we know who you are. That would be
Even
amazing.
if you're watching the replay, do hashtag replay.
Oh, you see, Kelly just got in there with the old hashtag replay. We got to love a little bit of that. And there's nothing nicer than seeing that somebody is getting value from this and actually learning from this, even weeks or years
For
down the
years.
line now, which we can say. It kind of feels a bit odd, but we've done over 125 of these trainings. Every Tuesday we show up and here it is. So and Joe's very excited about this one. So
We can see a lot of our Changemaker members watching. Hi, Monica. Hi, Kat. Hi, Joe. And you will get sneak preview of some of the documentation in our marketing pack on our monthly spotlight this Thursday, all around creating content that's engaging. So that's part of marketing. So our change makers always get exclusive access to everything first, and then the Connection Hub members come later. So we make sure we serve you all, but we've got to. This is how we treat our top clients well, right? Which is exactly what we're talking about today.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. So what she said, because here's the thing, and if you read the blurb that was kind of the advert for this, you'll know this, because when you're first starting out as a coach, as a speaker, as an author, you pretty much welcome anybody, any customers. Who do you serve? Anybody. And normally Kelly and I would go, no, you're not allowed to say that. But the thing about this is that when you are first starting out, actually it can be a really good thing to do, because regardless of whether they meet your avatar, and that's a word we use a lot, the requirements for your ideal client, really what you're wanting to do is just get some cash in and some experience in. And that is
Yeah.
really valid, right? It's such a valid strategy. But
Isn't it true that sometimes when you're doing that and you're working with people, you go, they're definitely not my avatar.
which
I
is
never want to
great.
work with that type of person again, right?
And that's kind of what we want, which is why when you're first starting out, that's really good. But continuing to work with those people is just harrowing. So we want to help you in this particular live to really understand how you develop a business that's on your terms, the way that you want it. And part of that is becoming really discerning about who you serve. And so that's really our focus for the whole of this. So let me canvass the people who are here right now. Joe's buzzing the business. Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, she's got a new laptop. So I'm chilled out on my sofa watching you doing a bit of work at the same time. Love that. Nice. Wait. The
Amazing.
most important question, is it a
What?
Mac or is it a PC, right? Because then you're going to be like, well,
Come on.
come on, Mac lovers.
I can't actually now move on until I know the answer. Which is how it goes. So whilst this is, we're going to have a Mac PC war now, aren't we? In the feed, that's basically what we're doing here. So let me ask you a question to actively put in, much more important than Mac or PC, which is, how many of you do a regular analysis or a review of your clients? It's a really important question, and it's something that's really useful to do if you don't. So don't go into judgment if you don't do it. Just start doing it, because you need to know who your top customers are. If I asked you to make a list, obviously don't publish that, but if I asked you to scribble down a list of your top 20 clients, notice, sort of, can you even define them? Do you have the ability to define them? Because, Pareto's principle, following the 80-20 rule, 20% of your clients are going to provide 80% of your revenue. And so, but not just your revenue, like the joy, the excitement, the referrals, everything. Those 20% are the ones that you really need to be looking after, but they're also the ones that you want to model and the ones that you want to actively encourage more of in your marketing and everything else, because knowing who they are allows you to really serve them and allows you to serve them even better, which is why Kelly was saying, obviously our A-listers are the ones that we give previews to. They're the ones that we give gifts to, the ones, but we'll come on to that, because you want to ideally have as many of those people as you possibly can. And you're never going to have, really, the way that it works is the top 20% is always going to be the top 20%. So what happens with the rest of them? And that's what we really want to sort of help you define and help you turn more and more of them into those top tiers in that way. Because if you turn more of the 80% into those 20%, the 20% get even better. What's not to love about that, right? So here's the thing. Defining your clients into different categories and sort of classifications will help you know how you market to those as well, so you can actively market differently to the different types of categories that you've got. But it also, and this is the really vital one, and for some of you this is going to be like, eek, but I've only got 17 clients, if you're right at the beginning of your journey, but it also lets you know who you need to let go of, and that's really important too. If you, the analogy would be weeding a garden. The garden looks absolutely beautiful, but really, really packed. But when you pull out the weeds, it's actually going to look stunning, and you may not have realized it. Go on.
Some of those weeds are disguised as flowers.
Oh, yes. See, look at that. So let us help you with that, right? So here's the thing. It isn't just about the revenue. It's also about how like valued they are. And for those of you who know us well, you know that we talk about this. It's about how much alignment there is between what you do and how you do it with what they need and how they like to be educated and how they like to be served. So that's what we call like valued. It's also around, I just use the word need. It might be about how needy they are and how much you like that or don't like that. So notice it's the how word that we're talking about here. The clients have behaviors, and it's usually on the back of those behaviors that we can start to classify them. So that's what we want to help you do.
And it's great. Obviously, we know that Kat's saying that she does know her top 20%, and she would know that because she's a systems girl, right? So when you're a systems person, you understand the data and you segment and you do all that sort of stuff. So we wouldn't expect anything less of you, Kat.
For sure.
And this follows on, actually, Kat's one of our members, and we were having this discussion in our Ask Us Anything session yesterday in our membership site. And actually, one of the things that helps with knowing about your clients and knowing where they fit and where your work is, how much effort and time and energy you give to them, really is helped when you have a framework and a user journey and a range of products, which is why we encourage you to create a portfolio business with your message repurposed into digital products, physical products, events, coaching, speaking, blah, 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 because this then allows you to work out, what do I offer the clients when we have categorized them in what Helena says as the type of client that they are.
Yeah.
And this also gives you real clarity on actually where do you start and where do you end as a
Yeah.
service provider, right? Because a lot of people, especially like speakers, authors, and coaches, you are service-based people and you want to help. So sometimes what you can actually do is you get your client in front of you and they go, oh, can you help me with this? And you sort of stretch your boundaries a little bit of what you would normally do and end up then starting to deliver things that actually you're not that passionate about, you're maybe not even that good at, but because you want to help them, you sort of say, yeah, I can do that bit too for you. So when you know your framework and you actually know what you help people with and where your boundaries are, this also helps you create relationships with other service providers
Yeah.
that can actually do the bits that maybe you don't want to do, can't do, or isn't your skill set to do, but still support the user on that journey and also still create affiliate commission and referral commission, still earn money without having the headache of actually doing stuff you don't like. I am going to put a link in the comments here because we've done a live before,
Yeah.
which basically talks a little bit about this, about who has your clients before or after you. So you can actually discover actually who do I refer people to? And I'll give you an example of us in a minute. But watch that live if you are thinking about, okay, how can I expand my services without diminishing my time and effort? What's that saying? I talk about
Joe's saying, "Oh God, the times I've done that and the headaches and the stress that it's caused."
Right, so we're going to go on to that because there's going to be some emotive points when we talk about the categories of clients, and I'm sure, all have little images of people in your head that come up when we talk about different categories.
No.
If you look at what we offer for speakers, authors, and coaches, is when we're talking about that boundary, we don't work with people who want to write a book or do speaking or coaching as a hobby, right? That, oh, I want to write a book because I've ticked it on my to-do list for life. We work with people who want to turn their speaking, writing, coaching into a business, right? Rather than just have it as a nice thing to have done or a hobby. We help you with the business management of actually making it into a successful, sustainable, profitable business on your terms.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to explore whether speaking was something right for them, we wouldn't teach you about that, but we would point you in the direction of Toastmasters and PSA and all those types of places there to go and explore your speaking ability, whether the industry, all those types of things. And then if you think, I like this, I've got the speaking bug, come into our world and we'll start supporting you around developing that.
Yeah.
Similarly, you'll hear that we always say this, that we don't teach speakers how to speak, we don't teach authors how to write, and we don't teach coaches how to coach. We teach you how to run the business side of things. So when you do, for example, want to write that book, or you do want to become a coach, we will have partners, and you'll see this in the Connection Hub. We have publishers, we have speaker trainers, we have various people who will help you do the tactical side of the business that you want to do, and we refer you to go and do that with them, and then you come back to us as your business managers, as your biz dev people, because that's what we really want to support you with. So it really helps your client understand what you do. It really helps you outsource to people to do the stuff that you don't want to do or you don't like to do or you're not good at, and it also creates an additional revenue stream for you because you're supporting your client on a journey, and you're also making sure they're getting the best possible service wherever step of the way that they are.
And if you think about that, managing a business is about using the best expertise that's available in, sort of in your sphere. You're not ever going to work with just one person. Oh, here we go. So Nadine, you're a perfect example of this. She's
You
a
are
coach.
good to see you.
She's
I've seen
written
you for
two
ages,
books,
Nadine.
and
Yeah.
and she's speaking. So, that's that portfolio piece. That's that blended piece that we're talking about. And underneath it, there's still what is the marketing direction and how are you managing your business so that it is continuously working for you with you at the heart of it. And so from that perspective, it's really important. So you can hear our example of that. You need to have that in mind for you, because it's really important once you once you know that those categories or that classification, if you like, of what your different levels of clients are and where they fit in your framework, it means you can start to market them and attract them differently. So that's one of the things that we really work with people on a lot, which is how do you market differently to these sets of people. But it also helps you decide, and this is vital, who gets the most of your time, right? Directly as well as behind the scenes. So this whole classification that we're going to suggest to you, in part with a bit of modification, Kelly and Helena modification, comes from some of you may have read a book called Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard and Donald Sheldon. I think that's right. Somewhere
Yeah,
in
I
my
think
bank that may, who knows? If I've got it wrong, apologies to Mr. Sheldon. But it was based around the fees that people pay and the level of maintenance or attention that you pay to them. So i.e. how much effort it takes to help them do what they're doing. And Nadine, you're so welcome. It can be mind chaos if it isn't worked out. That's a beautiful phrase. I'm quite enjoying that. Thank you very much. I like you. You can stay. Hey, Kate, nice to see you. Okay, so some of you may or may not know this. I did a whole stint on this in the podcast I did the week before with Joe Dodds. But I used to work in restaurants, right? And for 14 years, I was in the catering industry. And the clients, the customers who would come in were my dream clients. They are the ones who they kind of knew the menu inside out. They knew what they wanted. They didn't really ask an awful lot of questions. They just got on with things. They were polite. They were kind. They left me a massive tip at the end. And they thought I'd done the world for them by simply serving them with politeness and kindness. So, they were my dream clients. And then the ones just below that were the ones that had loads of questions about the menus, sort of like these days, I'm sure I would have had
hang on a minute.
many. Yeah.
At TGI, there were like so many combinations of sides, or still are, that no wonder they had questions, right?
Well, I fully get it. And these days I wouldn't, well, these days TGI's isn't what it was when it was in kind of 1988 and 89. You can work out how old I am from that. But the whole thing around it was every waitress, every waiter knew the menu inside and out, and I would be there. I remember somebody who was gluten-free way back then, literally saying to me, "Oh my gosh, could you go away and come back when you know that you've got about 7 minutes free in order to help me, because I'm a pain because I've got this thing going." And actually it was a joy to be able to go and serve her in that way. So she kind of fell into my kind of the second level down, because she had loads of questions. She took up time, but it was still, it wasn't onerous. There was still a like valuedness. There was a politeness that went through it.
That's what I was going to say. She was still polite with it, right? She made sure, she knew she was going to take up your time, so she made sure she wasn't demanding. And I think Kate's saying she would not be that type of person. She'd be like,
Oh, but Kate, you see, you would have fun with it. So that second tier of people, they're nearly like valued. They kind of have some of that going on. But the ones that come in demanding and wanting all sorts of things, they're the more high maintenance ones. So I hope you get what we're talking about around that, right? So sometimes it's about, back to that thing I said earlier on, it's about the how they do it as much as what they actually demand. So
yeah.
yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to help you categorize your clients on this training today. We're going to give you an idea of how we do it, and obviously we want to encourage you to modify this to make it yourself, because obviously you've got different values, you've got different clients, and all those types of things, but it gives you an idea to categorize them into what we call A, B, C, and D clients. And we'll go through a little bit of this about what that actually means. But as always with our training, grab a pen and paper, make some notes so that you can actually start working on this, because we will always give you homework.
Sure.
The first type of clients, which Helena was talking beautifully about then, is what we call our A-listers. And they are the ones who are your amazing clients, right? They're the one I categorize these people as the people that they're so valued and like-minded, that they're the people I would have round to dinner at my house. They can, access my personal world. They're part of my friendship group as well as clients. And obviously that's different depending on what industry you're in, but
sure.
You love these clients. You love everything about them, the way that you work with them, their values. These are the ones that literally lift your spirits, and the ones that you wake up in the morning wanting to serve, right? They will access all of your product range, including your top tier, high paying products. They are what Helena was just saying is actually they're low maintenance.
Yeah.
It's really funny how there are some people who I normally find that the people that pay the least are actually normally the most high maintenance. They want the most amount of time. They've got the most stuff. Rather than the people that are spending thousands of pounds with you, they're like breezy, right? And they're really easygoing. So that because they align with your values, because they can afford your services, because they take action on what you suggest for them to do, they work through your product range, they refer you to other people, they're like your ambassadors that are out there, and they're just a joy to work with, right? So we end up calling them our ambassadors because they're like they love us, we love them, it's a reciprocal relationship, and all they do is talk about you and say how awesome you are and how much you've supported them through their journey, and then they've got the result because they've done the work and they've invested the time and they've invested the money. So we love these A-listers. You going to say something, huh?
No, I was just going to say, I think the common word that sort of a lot of people may resonate with is they're the ones that respect what you do. They respect that they need to do in order
Right.
to get the result that you promise, and they respect the way in which you're doing what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
so I think there is a commonality when you're thinking about this around the levels of respect. That's a good way to think about this characterization,
And,
classification.
and and it will be whatever stage of the journey. Unfortunately, these people do normally only make up that 10-20% of your client base,
For
right?
sure.
So in that respect, you've got a smaller minority of these people. It's your job to really nurture them. Helena said at the beginning of the training that we want to create a lookalike audience of these people. So these are the people that you would do spotlights on to actually say, look, this is the work that we've done with them, and look how they've developed, and do case studies with them. You would treat them. We have them tagged in our CRM system as VIP clients, right?
For sure.
Because those people get exclusive offers, they get bonus things, they get invitations to some experiences that other people don't see behind the scenes. They get, when they've been on our retreats, people get stuff afterwards. So there's things that you treat them differently. Because they feel special. You want them to feel special because they are special, right? And this is why it's really important to data segmentate your list, identify them, and then know how are you treating them differently? How are you making them feel special? So they're your A-listers, right? These are the ones that we want you to identify. What does that mean for you in your world? How could you spot them as a client if you had an event? And what do you give them? How do you nurture and treat them as they're special?
So that was A. Here comes B. So, the B grades, the B listers, however you want to put it. I think B grades is probably nicer. So, sort of now in the language, in the book, even, some people like to call them bread and butter clients. They make up the bulk of, or you would hope that they make up, the cream rises to the top. If we're talking about milk, it's
How
that.
many analogies can we do?
I know. I'm just throwing it all in there. I can't help it. These are the visual images that happen in my head. I might be hungry. Cream, bread and butter. Maybe I'm hungry. Who knows? Right. So the thing is that some people call these B graders the bread and butter clients. They're the ones that really, if you look at your income, you look at the bulk of your time, you look at your delivery, that is where the bulk of them come from. Now, they are the clients that we like. If you think about them as, you like working with them, they pay you well, they do respect that element of it, and they, a lot of the time they pay you almost as much as the A-listers or as much as the A-listers, but they might be that little bit more high maintenance. They're the ones that try to blur the boundaries or are always asking questions or push the edges, not on purpose, like usually quite innocently and because they want the result, but they
Quite
just
hungry,
feel,
aren't they?
yeah, they are very hungry for it. So in that excitement, they actively kind of are just, they can appear a little needy, but in a nice way. Go on.
Didn't get my hungry. I was still on the same theme. It just was like
Oh, Tim, I absolutely adore you. It's like a vast smorgasbord of allegories. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And then
And
just before that, because I don't want the comments to go, Kat was saying that she actually gave people certificates on Sunday. Wow, did they appreciate that? You don't need to do much to make somebody feel valued, or 100%. It's the small things that matter, right?
for sure, for sure. And Nadine, we'll catch you later. Keep watching from the point at which you kind of went, which
I'm
is around about
back.
24 minutes in. So it's all good. See you soon. So these B grades, these bread and butter clients, as we say, they seem a little bit high maintenance, but you really like them. They've got most of the value sets that the A-listers have. So they just occasionally kind of can appear a little bit needy. They're the ones that you go, oh my goodness me. They're the ones that ask the same things over and over. Sometimes it's just around learning style. Sometimes it's around that um, the demand, that hunger that they've got. And the thing to watch out for is just this little scope creep, sort of like, because you actually do like them, so you want them to do really well. But sometimes that begins to kind of blur the boundaries and they take up a little bit more time. They're the ones that like say, can I have 5 minutes of your time? And 20 minutes later, you're still there, kind of. So you want to be watching that because they're not a full value match, but they're close enough. And that's why they get a lot of you.
Yeah.
They're the ones that you might need to chase a little bit to get things in place. They require just a little bit of attention, or dare I say it, maybe some approval. Every now and then they just want you to reassure them in some way,
Yeah,
and
and
sometimes they can be a bit exasperated.
they're great clients that actually respond really well to accountability,
For
right? So
sure.
if you've got something that has that, where they get a small touch point with you, but you're moving them forward because they just need that little nudge, as Helena said, they're
Yeah.
great clients for those types of programs.
Which is why, as part of what we do when we help people develop their business models, we take that into account and we go, well, how are you designing in for those people? Because these are the people that you actively want to make, by its very nature 80-20. There's only 20% that go in the top lot. So what happens in this piece is you still want to make that on your terms. You still want to make that work for you. So how do you accommodate this type of person? Because trust me, they appear and you want them because they pay you well, they're fun to work with, they're just a little bit cumbersome at times, or they can be a bit exasperating. But the way to get beyond them is, sort of, they usually are the ones that are in your membership, they attend your events, and providing them with content usually supplies their needs, and
Yeah.
having contracts, rules and boundaries are the way to manage that so that you're still running your business on your terms, because these are wonderful people, right?
And
Unlike,
they are like, if you've got like full cream milk, God, we're just doing a whole food thing, aren't we? They're the middle bit where the milk and the water meet, where there's just a little bit there. So they're probably that 10% of the
yeah,
20%. And then we get to the C grade clients, right? And I've been racking my brains here thinking, bloody hell, C grade food, what am I supposed to do, right? But actually, the C grade are more like your store cupboard items if we're talking food, right? They're there, they're always there. They're filling up the holes. They're your stable, steady clients. So when we're talking about this 80-20%, the C grade clients will actually hopefully make up the bulk of your database. So they're going to be the majority of this 80%.
yeah,
Now, the random thing about these people, especially if you do what we do in building a portfolio business, is that you would probably never meet them. You'd
yes,
probably never speak to them. You probably don't even know who they are, right? Because what they tend to do is that they have the hunger and they will probably only go so far. So they will probably only access your lower tier products, which in our opinion would be products that don't involve you swapping time for money. They would be digital products so that they are still doing the work, they're still getting the access, but you're not actually swapping time for money. So this is when a
yeah,
portfolio business comes into, its glory. When we teach people to ideally set that 60 to 80% of their income comes from a digital source, you then get to choose your A and B clients of who you spend that money, that time with, which makes your business joyous. You charge top dollar for this, but actually the running costs and the delivery and your targets of your business are mainly met by your C grade clients. And therefore you
yeah,
create a business on your terms. So these clients aren't demanding. because you probably don't even know who they are. They just buy the program and work through them. They're often what we class as your sort of silent fans. So, when people talk about, we've done lives about engagements on Facebook and stuff, there is only 2 to 5% of people in your group who will comment, like, and make themselves known. The
Yep.
amount of people, I mean, we get on average around about 1,000 views per Facebook Live now. Most people watch it on the replay. And so you
Sure.
think, there's 20 people watching live or whatever. Those other, hundreds of people, they never comment, they never like, they never say anything.
Who
but
are you? Who
but
are
they're
you?
information, right? But what these people are either trapped by is they're trapped because I don't have the finances to invest what they want to do, or they're not quite ready to do the work. So they'll do lots of tactical things to move very slowly forward, but they're not ready to take the big leap. So therefore, you should not be forcing them or being annoyed with them by going, but I gave that person an hour of my time on a call and then they didn't buy.
Yeah.
That's actually your fault, right? Which is why we need to know how to screen and identify your clients and make sure you have digital resources to support those people who either aren't ready or can't afford to work with you top dollar. And also, this stage here is a great stage for referrals.
For sure.
Because people might still be in this tactical land, or when we're talking about A-class clients, one of the important things is that they can afford your services. I would suggest for you to think, who do you know in your industry? Watch the live that I put at the beginning about who has your clients before or after, and know who you could refer people to move them along their journey, which actually isn't you.
Yeah.
Right? So we have web designers, quiz designers, PR people, publishers, blah, blah, all these people that we refer people to for tactical stuff. Yes, we get kickbacks from some of them as well, but ultimately we're making sure we're moving the client forward without us having to do that work that we don't have the time or the energy to do that. We run this business one day a week, Elena and I, so we've got to be really discerning with our time.
Yeah, for sure. And we do a strategy day, just for those of you who are going, well, how on earth do you do that? We spend an extra day together just doing some
Last
strategy.
Thursday of the month, yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? Everybody needs to strategize in the business, and this kind of classification piece, as you can hopefully hear, if you're taking some juicy nuggets away, do tell us what they are, because that's part of your business. Part of running your business beautifully is knowing and understanding where you need to put your time and effort. But also, as Kelly just said, for those C sort of list people, you need to be in a situation where you have got something to offer them, whether that is a referral onto somebody else and preferably a course of your own. So I saw Judith has just actually kind of figured out where we were doing this. So Judith, I know for a fact, has just been working on an online course that actively serves those people in the way that you've just said, Kelly. So that's a really good thing. So now we
Judith.
exactly, it's like ta-da! And that's it. So here's the thing. D grade clients, let's talk about these ones, right? Because it's like D for draining, D for
food orientated. Come on, you had a good 5 minutes to think of a food orientated theme. Dog food. Dog food.
No. They're not as bad as that. They're not as bad as that. But they are the ones that can leave you kind of feeling depleted. They're the ones that now I'm on D words. But they are the ones that are usually low paying or no paying, and also high maintenance. They want it all, even though they're not paying you anything, or even though they're paying you minuscule amounts. And it's like, actually, you need to be valuing the time, energy, skills, talent, years that you've been putting in. Rotten fruit. I like it. There she is. Thanks, Kat. But you need to be honoring in your pricing structure and in your business model how your experience, your expertise, and not paying attention to those people, but you need to manage that in a really good way. So these are the ones that kind of make you groan, and these are the overhangs from that thing I said at the very, very beginning. You know, when you took on anybody, they're the ones who've still got your name in their phone, and they're the ones that ping you messages and you go, seriously, dude, I worked with you 6 months ago for like 50 quid or whatever it is, and you go, you do not deserve that, because actually this is my expertise that you're willing to give, and I want you all to get to the stage where you're doing that. What?
I don't think many people have ever seen your diva side, but it just came out a little bit.
Oops.
You nearly did this then.
Yes, yes, this is definitely. Oh, Mike, it's lovely to have you here. No worries for joining late. You just missed my moment, though. Dude, you're gonna have to kind of go back. But yes, I do actually have a bit of a diva side. So thanks for pointing that out, hon. Oh no, it's good. It's good. So back to these D grade clients, right? And these are the ones that, they have this energy. You can see how they pull this energy out of me, even because, yes, seriously, sassy. Because it's this. Really, truly, this is not allowed. This is not acceptable, because I have my boundaries. So they're the ones that if you see them come up against your boundaries over and over, and you find yourself getting annoyed, getting irritated, getting frustrated, everything in the range of all of that, or most importantly, if you physically go and you
Yeah.
sag and your energy kind of drains, or you even find yourself going, oh, sort of like, and or getting angry and wanting to throw the phone across the room, these are signs that this is a D grade client. So that's juicy information. So at that point, when you catch that, don't answer. For God's sakes, don't answer, right? Make them wait, because otherwise they think that you actually want to answer straight away. That is not, that is reserved. That immediacy is reserved for your A-listers. Go on.
And I'll find this afterwards. We did a live around how to fire a client, because if you're still
Yeah,
contractually obliged, you do need to pick up the phone,
for
right?
sure.
This is for people that aren't paying. She's saying this, but if you're in a relationship
For sure.
already, then we need to learn how to fire a client, which is another live that we've done, and I'll put a link in somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's somewhere around the
I'll put a
14th.
link.
Yeah, you'll find it. So here's the thing. You usually recognize them. And in fact, Judith is just saying that that's exactly the way to go. It's good to delete the D's from our working life. I use the Jedi inspired, I'm not the coach for you, which is really great.
Nice,
And I
nice.
really love that, because here's the thing, it's up to you to set the boundaries of that, but you can do that in your marketing. And that's the really beautiful thing about this, is that you start to recognize. So when that happens, and back to what I was saying, when that happens, when you get that irritation, etc., stop for a moment and actively note down, what are all the behaviors, what are the things that this person does that are not, they are the anti-ideal client, they are the anti-avatar in this way. Because what that allows you to do is, it allows you to hone your marketing even better, that then allows you to speak as much as possible on your website, in your social media, in your profiles, to speak and identify the A's and the B's. I work with people who take action, who blah blah blah, so that you can list those values, because by its very nature, the D grade clients will go, oh, that's not quite me, but they'll still be able to partake of, for example, something like this live, which is available for free. But it's
Yeah.
also having stuff like this that you can give to those people, the lead magnets that you might have that might move them forward. So this isn't about actively going, you are scum of the earth. It's not that. It's, they are where they are. Am I still doing it?
No,
but
no.
but I but it's this piece around ensuring that you are able to serve, or send them somewhere where they are served better. Because here's the beautiful thing, your D grade clients are actually somebody else's A
Hey, great.
listers. Like,
Yeah.
how cool is that? So
And
what
that's
if,
exactly what Kat just said. I think you'd be better served by X, right? This is exactly the same time that you said that, right?
yeah,
And that's great, isn't it? Because there is enough for all, for
yeah,
everybody.
it's an abundant universe. And here's the thing, actually cultivating. So do go and look at that whole Who Has Your Customer Before You or After You training, because when you start to identify the people where again, you bookend your niche, you bookend your service, and you go, we start here. Anything on this side, actually, you go to Fred blogs for. Fred's going to be very busy.
So
But
that's a
sort of,
combination of Joe blogs and Fred somebody else.
yeah, completely. Oh, now Fred Savage is in my head. Seriously, stop distracting me. I'm very distractible today. So the thing here is that you find the people who would love your D grade clients. And even better, you work out a referral or an affiliate situation with them that allows them to get them up to speed where they could actively partake and become your C's, your B's, or even your A's over time, because everyone has to start somewhere. It's tricky though when X has already declined them. This has happened. In which case, I'm talking to the blended coach version of us. Part of service is sometimes being very emphatic about, if you are having the same message thrown at you by 3 or 4 different people, the problem is not the people, the problem is you.
Where's the
So
common
whether
denominator? Yeah.
Exactly. And so part of this is sharing the hard truth with the D grades. They may or may not realize that they are the issue. And sometimes that's the kindest thing you can do. But most of
Mm,
the time, they have come to you because they want something, but they're not quite, ready for you or for what you actually say. They're not ready to take the action, but they still want to be seeming or feeling like they're doing something. So they hang around in your groups. They aren't willing to pay for most things, or they're only attending kind of the free classes or testing you out still in some way. You might associate them with the seminar junkies, the drama queens, the tire kickers, but they are the ones that will really help you toughen up to your own boundaries in that way as well. So
yeah.
it's really, it comes down to this. We talk about a business on your terms. Terms is an acronym for us. Terms is a way of doing things. It's your time, your energy, your resources, your money, and your skills. And your job is not to give these people your time, energy, or attention. It's instead to direct them at the free resources or other people that allow them to progress so that they can enter your world. And you
Yeah.
need to educate them on that.
So
I'll
you've
get
got
off my
some,
soapbox now.
you've got some work to do, right? So the first thing we want you to do after you've identified these people is actually then categorize them, call them what you want, A, B, C, D,
Mm,
rotten fruit up to whatever you want to class them as a food type. But then what I would suggest that you do is in your CRM system is have a tag
yes.
associated with the client category. Because then what you can then ensure is if you have A clients or VIP clients or whatever it might be set up, you know that they get that exclusive email, they get the priority booking, they get the blah, blah, blah. And also there might be a different nurture sequence that the D clients go on because it involves much more of a signposting out of my world into other
Mm,
people's worlds with affiliates and et cetera, et cetera. So really important is identify the categories, then start setting up tags and making sure that you're data segmentating in your CRM system about that.
yeah,
The key to stopping being drained by these people and not running a business on your terms is to create this portfolio business.
for
It
sure.
is to create free lead magnets, resources, downloadable things so that people who can't afford you or you don't want to work with them, you're still serving them, but you're not swapping your time. And
Sure.
it's also then thinking what lower tier products would the stable amount of my community be able to afford, access, and work through, again, without having to drain on my time and my energy and my resources, which are things
Hmm.
like digital courses, ebooks, books, membership sites, all these types of things that you've got, which
Yeah.
are actually more of a one-to-many
Yeah.
product rather than you swapping time for money. And then I'm gonna stay on my last point. And then the last one is identify those partners. Watch that Facebook Live of who has your clients before or after. Have an agreed relationship. Promote each other. Be in each other's worlds, and also set up that partnership. We've got a Facebook Live on how to set up joint ventures and stuff in the Connection Hub. So make sure that you know that you stay in your zone of genius
Yeah.
and you work with other people that are in their zone of genius, because literally, as Helena says, there is so much out there from a client perspective that we can share, right? We can all work together on this and we can all serve the client.
And
Now,
and
who's
so
the
so
top read?
Okay, so there are two things, and Tim is absolutely right. And please don't get us wrong when we say this. D clients could actually just be the ones who are innocently very hungry for the information, and they don't actually realize that they don't realize that they're kind of breaking your rules because they're your
Of
rules, right?
course.
They can just be really perfectly lovely people who are a bad fit for you right now. And
Yeah, and,
so
and
so
it's your responsibility. Just
yeah,
like in the hub, it's our responsibility to make sure our rules are clear, our group description is clear, what we do, how we serve, how people can operate. That's how the Connection Hub has got such a beautiful culture,
yeah,
because we're really strict, and we definitely were for the first year, on making sure that the foundation members knew how to operate, and they became the ambassadors
for
and they
sure.
became the people that created the culture. So it's your responsibility. You can't assume
Yeah.
that the clients know how to work and how
Yeah.
what your boundaries are.
Yeah, how would they know? And then Kat, it's a very funny point, but a very serious point nonetheless. Because of GDPR and subject access requests, don't classify. So as Kelly says, by all means classify them, but don't classify them as nightmare because they might just actually see that. So be sensitive and gentle with that. Kat, I would never have thought about it. Not that I would have thought about classifying them as nightmare, but I absolutely love this and it shall stay with me for a long time to come.
Oh, it's great, love it.
So, on that note, I feel it's appropriate that we leave you to go and actually take a look at your list of people, whether you've got them in your CRM, whether they're on a spreadsheet, in which case get a CRM, but wherever they are, um, yeah, go and establish who are my A's, who are my B's, who are my C's, and who are my D's. And remember that that's a fluid feast. So on a quarterly basis, you kind of want to be looking at that because you'll find that there's movement. Many blessings to all of you for the rest of your week. May you have a productive, effective, and efficient one. Doesn't want to let me go.